Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Big Turn Interviews. Some crazy things. It's our last interview before Big Turn. Why? Because Big Turn is this weekend. It is literally 3 days away, 2 days away. I don't know. It's getting so close to the time that I don't even know what day it is anymore. So don't forget to get your tickets because it's going to be a really fun weekend. And without further ado, and one of our artists playing at Big Turn, welcome Dan Israel.
Hi, Kaylin.
Hello,
Hi,
Dan.
everybody.
How's it going? How are
I'm
you?
I'm good. I'm looking forward to coming down to Red Wing again. I think I've
Yes.
played basically every year that it's been a bigger. I think there was one year
Yeah.
that it was scaled back a lot, but
Yeah.
otherwise I've played it every year, and I look forward to it every year, and I'm
Mhm.
excited to do it again.
Yay! Awesome. Awesome. Well, you definitely already answered all my questions of how often you played at Big Turn, but
Yeah,
we're definitely glad to have you back, kind of keep that tradition going.
I'm
Um,
honored to be back, and I'm just want to say I'm really been impressed by it every year, and just
mm,
just how well it organized it is, promoted. The crowds have been good. The
hmm
festivals organized really well, and like
Yeah.
you guys treat the artists really well, and I'm just
Yeah.
impressed. I mean, I think highly of Sam Brown,
Yeah. Yep.
for getting it going and keeping it going, and all the people who work for it, like yourself. And
Mm.
it's
I
very,
appreciate
it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work.
it is.
I mean, I only have some sense for that being on the artist
hmm
end and booking my own shows, but I can only
hmm
imagine booking so many artists into so many venues over a whole weekend. It's and promoting it and all that. And so,
Right. Yes, it's definitely there's a lot of time, people, energy. Um, yeah, there's a lot that goes into it. So I appreciate that you're able to kind of, understand and see that
oh
even
yeah,
from the, excuse me, from an outside perspective. That's
absolutely.
really cool. Yeah, no, Sam is definitely like so wonderful.
He's,
He's also set up, a lot more of the Midwest Music Fest
yeah,
um, and then Big Turn, and he's also an artist himself, so
yep,
I feel like he's able to kind of bring in that understanding
yep.
to his festivals, and so I think that's really cool that you can see that. That's
I
awesome.
can, and I see what he's done for Red Wing,
Hmm
it's amazing.
Yeah.
We didn't most of us didn't get down there very often to play before
hmm
this. I mean, now and then I got in the area, but to
hmm
have this basically every year to
hmm
look forward to and come down there, and I love Red Wing, and it's just it just comes alive with this festival every year. It's exciting.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely agree. I 100% agree. I'm from Red Wing, so
Oh, good.
seeing
Okay.
this kind of like bring people down to this beautiful little town.
I used to go as a kid with my family periodically
Yeah.
to go down there, and
Um,
it seems so far away then. Now it doesn't seem
right.
like
Right,
we're going to
right.
Red Wing, all the way to Red Wing. It's not that
Mhm.
far. People from the Twin Cities should go, and
Right,
all
right.
really. And the weather looks pretty good this weekend too. So
I know. Fingers crossed. It looks like we're gonna get some snow tonight,
today,
but
yeah, but
mhm.
after that, I think it's gonna be nice. So
Yeah, I think so too. I think so too. So, Dan, tell me about you and your music. Is it just
mhm,
you? Are you in a band? How
sure.
is that gonna look like?
So this year I'm playing it solo, which I
Okay,
do a lot of solo acoustic gigs. So
nice.
it's almost more the norm for me to play solo,
hmm
but I do also play with a band. And then
hmm
people always ask, well, what's your band called? Well, it's these days it's just like the Dan Israel Band or whatever.
Yeah.
Once upon a
I
time we
love
were Dan Israel and the Cultivators. That you'd have to go back
it.
to the
Ooh,
late 90s,
okay.
early 00s to really get the
I
Cultivators era.
love it.
Once in a great while, I still use that name. And the drummer, Dave Russ, has been in the band since 1999, if you can believe that.
Wow.
Uh, so, yeah. And I've been playing music in Minnesota. I grew up in St. Louis Park. Then I went to
Mhm,
college in Chicago, played some music there. That's where I really started.
mhm.
And then I moved to Austin, Texas after college, and I
Okay.
had a band in Austin called Potter's Field. No one
Ooh.
remembers that, but um, came up to the Twin Cities and Chicago a couple times. That band fell apart. Then I moved back here at the end, back to Minnesota at the end of '95. So I've been back in Minnesota ever since the mid '90s,
Wow.
and been playing, making records. So I put out 17 albums. Uh,
Wow.
yeah. Actually starting to write again. I put up my latest album, Seriously, came out in November of 2022. So I
Mm,
actually went all of 2023 without putting out an album, which is, and I may go most of this year because I haven't been in the studio yet, but
right.
I'm starting to write again. It took me a while.
Nice.
I had to move this past year and I had a kid go out to
Mm,
college, so it was kind of
mm,
lot going on, but I'm
yeah.
getting back in the writing mode. People always think like, oh, with all those albums, I must write all the time. And actually, sometimes I go away from it for a while, but
Yeah.
getting back into it. And I'm just like, been on the scene forever. Some people are
Yeah.
like, yeah, I've heard of him, but I've never seen, So if that's the case, come out
Classic.
Saturday because I'm
Yes.
at 9:30 at Taters and Dillers at 10
Nice.
Plum Street, which I've never been to the venue, but I'm sure I've walked right by.
Yeah.
Maybe it hasn't been open that long. I don't know. Do you know the history of?
I I don't know the history of Taters and
Okay,
Dillers, but
okay,
I do know that like for the longest time I even like I've worked at Barrel House.
okay. Oh
So
yeah.
and
Hmm.
people are like, "Oh, we're going over to," and I was like, where is that?" It's a little hidden, but once you do find it, it's a fun little bar. They're typically open later in the evenings, and
Can
um,
I can I assume they have like French fries and pickles or something? Because I'm trying to figure out the name. Like tater, like
right,
is that Diller's? Is Diller's
right.
pickle? Like I don't know what's going on,
I
but
don't know. They're
okay,
actually more of like a bar
more of a bar.
rather, yeah, like a
Right,
good old
right,
classic dive bar.
right.
Um, they're fun. The owners and the people have always been really nice. Lots of
Cool.
times you'll see a dog or so kind of coming in and out, and so everyone's just
It's
there to have a good time always. So
Plum Street's right in the middle of everything, though.
sure
So
is. And
I
Liberty's is right there. So
okay. Oh yeah.
hmm
Yep. I
yeah,
looked on the map. It didn't look far away from anything. So
yeah,
um, I know
yeah.
one year I played at like a women's dress store or something like that. Uh,
Okay.
I think, and one year I played at a comic book store, and I think that place maybe is gone now. I don't,
So there was the Rivertown Games.
yes, yes,
Yep,
that was it.
yep. It's still there. It's under a
Oh,
different owner.
okay, yes.
And
He told me
I
he was
don't
selling it or something like that. Yep.
yeah,
That was a cool
yeah.
place. All the places I played
hmm
have been cool. And just different venues.
Yeah.
I think I played it. Is it Mandy's? Is it
Yeah.
Man? I think I played there last year, maybe.
Okay. That's
Hmm.
the thing we definitely try to do at Big Turn is try to make sure that artists that are reoccurring to try to put them in
Yeah.
different venues to just make
Well,
it more fun.
it's great. I get to see different places and I meet different musicians
Yeah.
from around Minnesota that I don't necessarily know. And so
Mhm.
that's
Yeah.
another great thing about it. I see people at check in too.
Yeah.
Jeremy
Yep.
Messersmith one year at check in, we took a selfie together.
Nice. Oh,
So,
that's awesome.
yeah.
Well, who maybe I don't know who you'll meet at check-in this year, but
Yeah, who
who
knows? Who
knows?
knows? I
For
always ask
sure.
people who they are though if I don't know, like maybe this is
Right.
like that band I've been hearing about that,
Yeah.
I don't get
Right.
out as much as I used to, so I try to meet people when I can.
I understand. I totally hear you there. So, your music, what kind of music is it? What I guess
Hmm.
genre would you
I
umbrella it in?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a singer songwriter,
Yeah.
uh, that kind of can sound boring to people sometimes. Like they might picture like because even though when I play acoustic, and even though I play acoustic a lot, I'm essentially like a rocker at heart. So like
Mm,
even though I write on acoustic and I may
mhm,
play acoustic a lot, in my mind there's like always a full band going on most of my songs. And my
mhm.
records are most of the songs have a full band on them.
Okay.
And I mean, my early influences were all like classic rock,
Yeah.
grew up listening to KQRS in
Oh
Minnesota.
yeah.
But
I hear you.
then so Beatles and Stones, the basic British Invasion stuff. But then I got much more into Bob Dylan and Neil Young and
Okay.
John Prine and people like that. Tom Petty
Mm.
became
Oh
like,
yeah.
he kind of walks all those, in a lot of ways, like Neil Young and Tom Petty, the way that they're kind of folk and kind of rock. That's sort of how I am in a lot of ways. And,
Yeah.
all the great Minneapolis bands I was hugely influenced by and still am, the Replacements and
Yeah.
Jayhawks and Husker Du, Soul Asylum, Trip Shakespeare,
Mhm.
Semisonic. Grew up, I'm from St. Louis Park, and that was where like
Okay.
Dan Wilson and Matt Wilson were
Oh
from,
yeah. Yep.
Peter
Yep.
Himmel, Sussman Lawrence. So like a lot of music came out of St. Louis Park too, and then the Coen
Yep.
brothers too. So I actually
Classics.
majored in film. I was going to be a filmmaker. Then I just got pulled into music more even than film. So I
Mm.
still help my friends make videos, but
Mhm.
someday I'd love to make a movie still. But really, music
Oh
is
yeah.
taking over my life, and
I
for
hear
better
that.
or worse.
Yeah.
Sometimes for worse. It's
I
not the
definitely hear that. Oh
it
my
is
goodness.
not the easiest path. I
For sure.
I put all these records, and I had a day job for many years. I worked for the
Mhm.
state legislature for 21 years, and I have
Wow.
2 kids. My son is freshman in college. My daughter's
Oh.
grade, so
Mm.
they're great kids, and they play music too. My son plays
Mm.
trumpet. My daughter plays violin, so
Oh,
it's in our blood.
fancy. I love it.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
that's
And
so special.
I've been trying to branch out a little and play like different kinds of guitar stuff, different tunings and mandolin and banjo and things like that. Sometimes too, I
Yeah.
try to mess with everything so I can write in a little different way sometimes too.
I love
But
that. Just kind of incorporating everything, which is
yeah,
super fun.
everything. I like really drony music. If there's one thing I'm sort of always drawn to, it's maybe sort of that drony thing that's at the heart of like some Celtic and Indian music.
Yeah,
I
I hear
noticed
you.
my daughter at her orchestra concert last night, and the cellos were laying down this thick groove, and I was like, "That's what I love. I like one
Yeah.
note over and over."
Yes, yes.
Like somehow it goes right into your body. Really, like I like drony sounds somehow. So,
Hmm.
but that goes right over to ACDC too, though. So
True, true. For
and new
sure.
wave, new wave and punk. That was a huge thing for me. Late '70s, early '80s. That everything. Pop music, rock music, country, R&B, rap. Even I'm not much of a rapper, but
Yeah, but it seems like you still can appreciate it, which is cool.
I do. And Dylan has an element of that in a lot of his earlier stuff too. Like
Hmm.
if you listen to Subterranean Homesick Blues, it's kind of like an early rap song. So
Nice. I love that. That's so
yeah,
awesome.
yeah.
That's
But
awesome.
I love being part of this community too. Minnesota, I think if there's one thing, it's always had great songwriting, and that's for
Hmm.
me like where I think it's always at is the song is primary. Like you don't
Yep.
have anything if you don't have a song. So
Yep.
that's where my energy is always at, is trying to write a song that lasts somehow.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I most definitely hear you. So with kind of going along with that, and all these artists, especially local ones, is there anybody that's playing at Big Turn that you're like, yeah, I want to make sure I go see them
I
or check them out?
Well, a lot of my friends are, so I need to like look through the
Yeah.
schedule and see if I can
Yeah.
catch a couple of shows when I'm down there Saturday. I don't know. Katie Vernon, I know, is playing.
Oh yeah.
I think she's playing Saturday. You know, I hate to even start down this road because I friends with probably half the people. I
Fair
consider them
enough.
friends, even if we're not,
Yeah.
you know, always like see each other a lot. But when you've played in a scene for 35 years or whatever, I have 30
Yeah.
years, you kind of get to know people and get along with most people.
Right.
You have
Oh yeah.
you have your frenemies too, of
Yeah,
course.
of course. It's the music
We
community I've come to find.
we all have our friends, our enemies, and of course the biggest category, the overlapping frenemies category.
Yeah, yep. Ain't that the truth? Oh my goodness.
I hate to say,
That's so crazy. No, you're not wrong. You
it,
are definitely not wrong. I can tell you that.
but
Oh
I try
man.
to I try to be supportive, and
Mhm.
I have so many people play on my records too. Like over the years,
Yeah.
I've had so many people sing and play guitar and keys, and
Mhm.
you know I always pay people too. That
Oh, that's good.
probably,
That's
even if
good.
it's not a lot, I always feel like if you're gonna play on my record, I'm gonna pay you. So
Mhm.
that
Yeah,
I guess I'm a very, very small employer.
that's okay. That's good. That's good. It keeps you reliable and
Yeah,
people want to, be there and
I,
such.
I try to be a good citizen of the community as much as
I
possible.
love it. I love that. I love that. So for Big Turn, you say you've been playing almost every year besides 1 year, which I'm assuming was when COVID,
Yeah,
kind of took over the whole planet.
yeah.
Um, how did you originally find out about Big Turn and what made you want to be a part of Big Turn?
Well, I think that it probably was initially something I saw on Facebook or some
Hmm.
social media thing that there was going to be this festival in Red Wing. But I'm always interested in getting, like, I'm not on a big label. I don't have like big representation, management, booking agent, none of that. I do almost everything myself. I
Hmm.
do hire um, there's a couple of great publicists in Minnesota. I've hired both of them, that Ellen Stanley and
Nice.
Krista Balinskis. Krista and Ellen kind of are, I've hired them both for different projects. And
Hmm.
they help keep artists apprised of some of these opportunities too. But I'm just always trying to get myself out around,
Hmm.
beyond just the Twin Cities. So
For sure.
whenever something comes along that's like doable. I mean, I can drive home after I play in Red Wing,
Right.
um,
Right.
and so I don't necessarily have to pay for a hotel. But I do go up to Duluth a lot, and I try to just get
Nice.
around the state as
Oh
much as
yeah.
possible. So over the years, especially southern Minnesota, it's a little more doable. I play frequently, down Rochester, Winona, Mankato, Red,
Nice.
Wabasha, all these places. So whenever something like this comes up that is like a really cool way to get your music out to other people in another part of the state, I jump at those opportunities,
Oh, for sure.
and I always will. And to get out of state too, I try. I mean,
Yeah.
I toured in Europe a few years ago, and I tried.
Wow.
Yeah, that was exciting and
My
cool,
goodness.
and
Yeah.
expensive, and I lost money on it, but I don't regret it at all. It was a great.
Good.
I went to Germany and played around Germany and
Mm,
Belgium for a month, so it was great. Then I
yeah.
try to play New York now and then. I used to live in Austin. I try to play wherever I can when I can afford.
Yeah.
I don't have some huge audience in all these places, but if I can
Yeah.
get out of town, I do. So, and
Yeah.
Big Turn, it's like a no brainer. Like
Yeah.
they're gonna pay me to come down to Red Wing to play a
Yeah.
really well organized festival. Uh, I'm so in.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I
Good. Yeah.
I really think highly of everything about this festival, and
Cool.
I wouldn't miss it if I can help
That
it.
definitely makes me happy to hear. I know this is
Yes.
this is only my
And-
first year working with Big Turn, but
oh, cool.
I've been very busy, of course,
Yeah.
and I'm hoping that I can continue working with Big Turn in the years to come. And so
I,
to just hear that is
well,
definitely like
it's it's
heartwarming.
it's really highly regarded in the Twin Cities. I mean, we
Hmm.
people can tell when something has its act together or not. And
Yeah.
clearly, Big Turn does. So there's a reason a lot of us keep coming back.
Yeah, for sure. And we're always still a work in progress. There's always something here and there that we can fix, add, take
Yeah.
away. There's always something.
And there's things you can't control. One year, I remember I
Right.
played like on a Friday, and then on Saturday it snowed bad. I don't know if you.
That, yeah.
It
I
was
heard that.
about 4 5 years ago that
Mhm.
and the festival went on, and not only did it go on, it was
Yeah.
like I was almost like FOMO about missing the Saturday. At first, I was like, "Oh, well, I dodged a bullet. I didn't have to deal with the snow." And then everybody was like, "Oh, it was so fun." I'm like, "Oh, maybe it
Yeah.
would have been fun to,
Yeah.
except for the drive home." But I
Right.
could have stayed over somewhere, I'm sure.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. So I'm really
Yay.
excited about it and honored to be a part of it every single year. I mean, that I've
Yeah.
been privileged to be able to do this. So thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, of course. Well, thank you for, wanting to be a part of it and continue to kind of help spread the message that
I,
it's a good place to be.
I'm putting the word out. I think we got a lot of people, fans, big music fans
Yeah.
coming down from the cities this weekend too. I know of a bunch
Oh,
already
yeah.
that
Hmm.
I'll be there, so keep
Yeah.
keep it going.
Yay.
For
Yay.
having me.
So I have a couple more questions
Okay.
before we
Sounds
end
good.
it.
Yeah, yeah, no
So
problem.
you've brought up a lot of artists, play people that you get a lot of inspiration from, people that you've listened to, what your music kind of reminds people of.
Hmm.
Um, so this is a fun one that I love to ask artists when they come on. If you could open for a musician or a band that has since passed,
Mm.
who would that be?
Wow. Well, for me, it's kind of like I can't. It if I could have met and opened for Tom Petty, that would have been kind of
Mm,
something that would have been
yeah.
really, really special for me. I mean, also there's so many, people like John Lennon, George Harrison,
Oh
and
yeah.
you know, um,
Hmm.
when I think about all the heroes, Prince,
Mm,
all these incredible people, Bowie. I mean,
yes. Yeah.
it's ridiculous how many people we've lost in the last 10 years that were
Yeah.
absolutely legendary. Um,
Hmm.
but I guess if I had to narrow it down, I'd say if I could open for Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, maybe even have them sit in with me on some songs, that would have been,
Yeah.
and I've gotten to open for some really great. I opened for Morrissey. I opened for Steve Miller.
Oh
I
wow.
have
Okay.
Loud
Yeah.
Wainwright. Like I have
Wow.
this big list of, and it used to happen a little more often. Touring acts used to not bring their own support as much as they do now. So through like
Yeah.
the '90s and early '00s, there was a whole bunch of times I got to open for national acts. Partly Sue McLean. She used to be one of the big
Oh.
booking. She passed away. She was great. She was a
Mm,
legend. There's still a booking agency called Sue McLean and Associates, but she's no.
mm,
But she booked
yeah.
like the zoo in the Minnesota Zoo. We opened for the Tragically Hip. We opened for Rick Springfield. um,
Wow.
I had some doozies, but sometimes the one I like to throw in there is that I opened for Morrissey because it was funny too. It's like people are like, you opened for Morrissey? What?
Ah,
How'd that happen? And we did. I
oh,
didn't meet him. I mean, he his band came on stage. This was at the Quest, which was used to be called Glam Slam. This club Prince owned at one time
oh
in
wow.
Minneapolis. His band came on stage. His limo pulled up. He came out on stage. Before the show was over, he left. Before the band left, like
Good old
he,
Irish goodbye.
he was never even backstage.
Oh goodness.
So it's not like I could have even met him, but
Right.
probably wasn't real interested in meeting me anyway. But
Fair
but
enough.
yeah, it's. I mean, I always have those dreams of getting to open for people I idolize. So maybe
Yeah.
there's be some more later in life.
Yeah. Well, fingers are crossed. Fingers
Yeah,
crossed. You never know what can
you
happen.
you do never know. That is
Hmm.
yeah. You don't know anything
For sure.
tomorrow. What can happen? So just gotta
True.
take it as it comes.
Right. And
Yeah.
then, kind of along with that, do you have, or I know giving just the one is very difficult, but maybe your like top three favorite albums of all time?
Oh, favorite albums.
Hmm.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna probably say the Beatles' White Album because first of all, it's kind of
Oh, yeah.
like I'm gonna pick double albums because like then I have more. If it's like a desert island, I always thought, well, I better pick double albums. Then I don't have to, I get more songs.
Very
I'd
smart.
say the White Album, and I'd probably say Exile on Main Street, the Stones,
Mm,
and then I'd probably I'd probably throw a Dylan album in there, but it'd probably be like Highway 61 Revisited or bringing it all back home, or one of those mid
Nice.
60s ones. I mean, you know, I feel like a dinosaur a little bit because I always say like things that are now like 50, these are we're talking about albums and bands that are 50 years ago now,
Yeah.
or I was born, which is now getting a long time ago too. Won't say when that was, but it was a little before.
Uh,
But that
Fair
doesn't
enough.
mean that I don't try to listen to newer music, and I do like a lot of stuff, but I don't, you know, I think
Yeah.
I'm still a little bit fixated on the music that got me into this all in the first place, which was, you know, essentially the singer songwritery stuff of the 60s, 70s,
Hmm.
you know.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean I don't try to update myself a little bit. A few years ago,
Totally.
I was like, I realized all the songs I cover were like from before 1990. So I started adding like, you know, Nirvana and Oasis and
Yeah.
stuff like that, just to have
Yeah.
something that came out in the last 30 years. But now it's not even in the last 30 years anymore. So
Yeah. It's
I got to
typically how that
update
goes.
again. And usually when I do a new song, it's one of mine. So like, that that's the other reason maybe I don't have so many newer things in my repertoire, is if it's new,
That's
it's
okay.
something I wrote and I'm trying to get that in there. So
That's okay. I totally hear you. I know most of the music that I listen to is artists that have been around for a long time.
yeah,
And it's just, the new stuff is fine, but
yeah.
they just don't make music like that anymore.
It's
Um,
it's interesting to hear you say it, because I sort of feel that way too. Though I want it to be still, you know, I don't
oh
want
yeah.
to be closed off. Obviously, too, if I'm out there trying to get people to hear my music, which is
Hmm.
new to most people,
Oh
then I
yeah.
don't want to be saying there's no good new music.
Right, right,
Uh,
right.
However, I work in a style and a, you know, I'm sort of trying to craft stuff that is like what I love from those earlier
Yeah,
eras. You know,
yeah,
so
for
if
sure.
I write something that sounds like Leonard Cohen, I should be so lucky, right? But
Yeah,
that would be good. I would be honored to have that comparison, or John Prine,
yeah,
like that. Nick Drake,
yeah.
see, there you go. He's long
Oh,
gone, and yet he died really young, and he made amazing
mm,
music while he was here for a little while. So,
yeah, for sure, for
mhm.
sure. Awesome. Well, we're getting towards the time where, kind of wrapping this thing up,
All
doing
right.
the things. I just want to say thank you once again for being here with us and for being at Big Turn. Really excited to have you.
I
Um,
appreciate it. It's
so
been a pleasure to talk to you, and I can't
yeah,
wait for the show and get down
yeah.
there, experience the whole thing, take it all in.
Yes, for sure. So before we go, if you want to just remind everybody when
Yep.
and where you play.
So I played this Saturday, February 17th, at Taters and Dillers, which is at 310 Plum Street. I've memorized this now from posting on my social media.
I
I
love it.
play,
I love it.
I play at 9:30. Now, originally I was listed at being at 10 o'clock, but they
Hmm.
changed the schedule a little bit. So please make a note of it. I play at 9:30 p.m. at Taters and Dillers, 310 Plum Street on Saturday night. Come see me.
Yes.
Come say hi. Come get my
Yes.
latest album, because you might not have had it.
Yes.
Um, Maybe you missed me last year. Catch up, see what I'm playing these days, because I play some newer stuff and some old stuff too. If you're a fan of anything I did before, I'll probably play some of those too, and
Mhm.
some choice little covers that you might like as well. And I put on a pretty high energy solo show. For a
Cool.
solo show,
Yeah.
I rock out pretty good. I just got my Martin
Yay.
guitar back from the shop, so
Oh,
it's
nice.
especially resonant and nice.
Love that.
So,
Love it. Well,
all
thank you
right,
again so very much.
all right.
And
Thank
I want
you.
to thank all of you guys for being here with us today. Don't forget to get your tickets, as Big Turn is this weekend. And also, happy Valentine's Day. I almost forgot about that. It's
I
kind of
meant it.
crazy. No worries, no worries. But yes, thank you so much, everybody, for being here. Go check out Danner's Reel on the website. There will also be a quick glance kind of book that you'll get this weekend, which will have the whole schedule for both Friday and Saturday on it, and you won't have any problem finding when and where your favorite artists play. including Dan Israel. So, yes, thank you, Morgan. Happy Valentine's Day. I will see you all this weekend. And thank you so much for being here with us during the Big Turn interviews. See you this weekend and then next year.